everyone, and welcome to The
The
Truth
truth
The truth
Behind
behind
the
the
Truth.
truth.
Yes, indeed.
Yes.
Y'all, it is a night of truth, boy. We're going to be talking about some
Yeah.
stuff tonight, boy.
You better
Hey,
say it.
if you're in any part of life, you have been dealing with some shit this week. In one way or the other, like like one way or the other. I mean, because so much is coming at I think all of us right now.
Yeah.
So we definitely need to be really encouraged as to what this energy that's floating around, energy of personal alignment, and however that is coming to you. Hopefully, we'll be able to shed some light on that for you, and then and encourage you as an individual. To keep pressing because I certainly need it. I know Darnell certainly need it. I know you certainly need it.
The world definitely
And
needs
the world needs it as well.
humanity needs it.
Right?
I think the world is fine.
Right.
It's just humanity needs
Yes.
right
positive.
And that's our goal every week to really to put a positive spin on everything, and that you would find your truth behind your truth. And looking at understanding your authenticity and that, so that you can find that the ultimate peace that's available to you. Because it is certainly available. You just got to press in sometime and look and go beyond what you see and just say, I'm going to have peace in the midst of this individual storm.
How you doing, Darnell? How you doing over there?
I'm doing pretty all right. Just floating through the weeks. It's just like everything is going together. I get up. I've gotten to the point. I just get up in the morning and say, Lord, I thank you, and keep moving. I don't even worry about if it's Monday or Friday. I just know when Saturday comes, it's time to do the show.
Right.
Oh, that's the truth.
That is the truth. That is the truth. Well, how you doing?
I'm fine. To be honest with you, it's been a crazy week this past week. It just seemed, my schedule at work is very it's not all over the place, but it's just it's just unconventional because I'm working overnights. Sometimes some nights I have to get up as early as 11:30.
Right.
I don't get home to about close to noon or a little bit after 1:00, depending on how much work I have to put into whatever account that I have to put that work into.
Right.
But what really bothers me a little bit about having to work out there in this crazy world that we live in and that we have to work in? Don't you get tired of people coming up to you and asking you, why are you working on a beautiful day like this, especially on a Saturday like this? And I be want to tell them, like, are you kidding me? Are you really asking me why I'm working, number one? And number two, who do these jobs really care about us working on whatever day as beautiful and as ugly as it can be?
Nope.
I'm like, y'all really, like, why would you go up to anybody who has to work in these times?
Well,
and ask dumb questions like that.
And then that's a loaded question, honestly. I mean, at the end of the day, because I think that people are so much into their own box, in their own thought patterns. So if it's something that out of the norm that they don't operate in that particular spectrum, so they just kind of throw it out there,
I just wish people come up out of that box and live in reality.
That's part of what we're going to be talking about tonight.
It's like, I don't know if I don't know if you're mocking or patron. You know what I'm trying to get at. It's
patronizing.
Patronizing. I just don't understand why anybody would. It's like me coming up to somebody at a fast food restaurant behind a counter and asking them why you at work.
Right.
Yes.
Well, yeah, but that too. That
right.
too.
What? That's that.
So and that's
because rent is due.
Huh?
Because rent is due.
Oh yeah, that too. Every time you turn around, every time you turn around is due. But I think that from what I'm getting, and like I said, it's part of what we're going to be just discussing tonight. I think that there's just coming a wave of entrepreneurship. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And I think that the universe is really speaking to a lot of people, and it's just really trying to find that place where you can move out in it, because you got to move into the realm of self-serve, of not being selfless, but self-serve, meaning that you won't be able to rely upon a lot of these corporate positions, because they're AI is going to definitely be moving a lot of people out, so you can see that now. I mean, AI is just available. Facebook has already got AI. You can speak to it and it can do anything you want it to do. Autocorrect from that to giving you its own better verbiage as to what you need to do with that. So I think one of the things is that if you see this stuff, we as humanity, as you said, we got to start educating ourselves better. You know what I'm saying? And then if something has already spoken to you about your entrepreneurship, you got to start pursuing it. You got to put that out there in the universe and put a demand on it, and so that your connective pieces will start, falling into place. Because if we're expecting corporate America, Fortune 500, all these other type of situations to make people rich, that ain't gonna happen. I'm telling you, it's not
to live off a livable wage.
Right.
And you don't even have to be rich, but to live on a livable wage right now, it's so unfortunate that nowadays you cannot have one job. You can't have one job no more.
So that goes back into what I was saying.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So, and if we this country, and we've all collectively been on this plan long enough to understand what the direction of this country. This country has had so many opportunities to put people in a position of livable wages, but like that man is trying to get back in the warehouse, it's already been laid over to the states, and then the states start talking to the small business owners, respectively, because we're small business owners. Darnell is, we are. However, if you're going in business, you got to understand you got to pay people. You know what I'm saying? You cannot be living in Beverly Hills and then your people living in Watts. Ain't nothing wrong with Watts if you live there, but you understand my point. It should be to the point that if this is my opinion, okay, that where you live, okay, it should be able to be afforded. That the old saying was, you should make in 1 week enough money to cover your whole rental expenses. 1 week out of your pay period. So, and the rest should be able to flow in the areas of that. But when it's taking you 3.5 weeks to pay your rent, something ain't right. And it ain't you. You see what I'm saying? It's not you. So it's the economic.
Because you showing up.
You showing up and you're doing your job. So then, you get into this. This was not where our conversation was going, but you know how we'd be led. But then you get in a position where you have the government or federal government wants to give its spin on it. And then, they're sitting back and they're a little, whatever the case may be. They've already gotten $200,000 a year to do nothing. At the end of the day, and then they want to express the fact, well, people, they really don't need to make any more than X amount of dollars. And and it saddens my heart to hear that people make $7.25 in America right now.
Listen,
nobody. No, I'm sorry. I know you got to point out. So nobody should be making less than $20 an hour in the state of the being where it is right now. And it should not be a challenge. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, D.
JB, my heart was so saddened. So we went over towards San Juan, Puerto Rico. And we were just walking, and they had a hiring sign. It was on a Taco Bell. I almost flipped out because they said hiring immediately, and the cost was $6.25 an hour.
Wow. That's embarrassing.
$6.25.
That's embarrassing.
Do you know the last time you done made $6.25 an hour?
I'm gonna go back a little bit in age, just a little bit. So when I first started working, and this was in the 70s. Okay, I was making $6 an hour. Okay, now can you imagine fast forwarding to this time, this economy? And then I was hell, I was balling in the 70s at $6 an hour. You know what I mean? But
anybody could have been balling in that time period with all of that.
All of that, exactly.
How much was a Happy Meal at that time?
I don't know. A cheeseburger wasn't even close to $1 then. It was like 50 cents, 60 cents, something like that. The most.
Child, now they $2.
Right, but in McDonald's,
it tasted a whole lot better.
So when McDonald's came, so when McDonald's came on the scene, when I was young, literally the hamburger was 15 cents,
and tasted a whole lot better.
Fries were 15 cents,
and tasted a whole lot better.
And I ain't talking about 100 years ago, y'all. But it feel like it.
With all the preservatives they have pumped into our foods. Gosh, listen, my body has told me this ain't good for you.
Right.
I can after eating a hamburger and sit down on it. It's like, okay, now you messed up, man.
Totally messed up.
But you know what? And I'm gonna let you. I'm gonna send this over to you, Darnell. But it goes back to the working class people of America.
Yes.
I always say there's always these situations called agendas that separate us and keeps us from looking at what it is that is keeping us down.
Right.
I am so tired, and I know y'all gonna get tired of me saying this. I'm tired of the racism. I'm tired of the homophobia. I'm tired of the classism. I'm just tired of all of it, because what that does, it keeps us off track. Because what it is doing, and then Charles gonna put this up on there, it's just keeping us working our heads off over dumb stuff, instead of noticing and understanding that we have people in this world that is keeping us where we are, which is stagnant, economically, financially, it just keeps us there because we're so focused on the wrong shit, and that's our problem.
Distractions.
And we're still voting on these dumb Congress people and senators who ain't doing shit. Go ahead, Darnell. I'm sorry.
It's sad to me because they've been playing for so many years the divide and conquer game.
Yes.
It's so easy to play it with the people of color, because therefore, now they divided to the, if you got to be this millionaire, or you're just the poor people. It's like the middle classes don't even exist. And if you are middle class, you just hey, you need to work a little harder. People.
But what is working harder? That's my question. What is working harder? This is and that triggers me a little bit, because you can be hustling until you can't even fall asleep at nights because you're stressing about how much this is going to cost me to buy my groceries, to my rent, to my water bill, my light bill. And you're working until you're about working yourself into the grave. And you might have had a plan before all of this craziness. People go to college trying to find their careers, but they're having to hustle and
end up in debt.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Basically.
Yes, I was online. Hold on, I'm going to you 1 second. I was online, and this guy, he made a post where it was a reel. He said, "Have y'all noticed something?" He said, have y'all noticed that there's more people who are broke people go on more trips than people who out here working and hustling?
I can't. We were talking about that.
And he said, "You know what?" He said, "Think about it." He said, "They don't be worried about the fact of the shit. They make a way."
There are broke people that can go to a Beyonce concert, and I'm still trying to figure that out. I'm still trying to. I'm always sitting back like tired from work and tired from stressing about something. And then I see all of these broke folks in the front row talking about, "I'm at the Beyonce concert." I'm like, how did you get there?
They make a way.
Well, they must have. They somebody sponsored their asses to get to a
you gotta be.
I sit. I say that all the time. I sit back and be baffled as to how these MFers, doing what they doing, and they ain't working. They ain't working. I don't know what they're doing. They hoeing. That's what they're doing. They're hoeing somewhere.
Something working for them.
Some working for them because they probably got all OnlyFans accounts and only them accounts. And
nowadays, that's the biggest thing to have if you ain't got a job. Sell yourself. Sell everything. From your toes to the rooter to the tooter. And that's all I can tell.
I never understood it. But you know what's funny? It kind of go back to that saying where when my grandmother, she used to always say, "I've done more with less."
Yeah. And it's amazing how that is. I mean, I don't know if it's a purposeful idea, because I can go back to, we go back to the South and different things that have happened back then. And I don't know. Sometimes I think that, when you're in a position of prosperous, and we're not complaining, Universe, about where we are in terms of prosperity.
Not at all, Jesus.
We are seeking more, and we're seeking more opportunities in that realm of prosperity. But we're just trying to really bring light into an idea on the ones that are on these higher levels and not looking back at those that are in desperate need. Out here in LA, you can just virtually go to every corner and find encampments. That shouldn't be in America, period. And maybe we'll talk about Gaza a little bit, tonight, whatever they can. I don't want to get in too deep with that because I got my collective opinion.
But to some, that's the American dream, to have an encampment.
Well, yeah, that's
To
a
be
whole
to
other
be
story.
poor and to be rich is the American dream.
Poor and rich.
Because poor and rich. Think about it. Now,
Yeah.
if you stuck in the middle, you are not living the American dream because you're having to pay for somebody's American dream.
Well,
and
got a
that
point.
comes with
Well,
having
yeah.
to pay your taxes
Right.
and them taking taxes out of your check.
Right.
Because where's that money going?
Right.
That's the and I'm just saying this because the fact that I have seen for myself working in that store, seeing broke people, homeless people coming in with more money
Right.
in their pockets. And me making
so I guess
bi-weekly.
they're making money by being on the street, but that's a whole nother
Why?
conversation. Whole other
They're living the
conversation.
American dream.
But
That's
my point
free
is,
money.
right?
That's
But my point is, okay. So we have a lot of circumstances that are out there, and and I wish that being who we are, the truth behind the truth, could explain everything that's out there. Now, one of the things that we said on past shows is that community-wise, you have got to start focusing in on your community people, okay? Because if you're expecting President Biden, and God forbid if that man gets in office, well, anyway, this troll will be doing from Vancouver, okay? Because Darnell will be right in the same neighborhood. We're going to be in Vancouver if that fool get in the White House. Anyway, but you got to stop blaming President Biden for what's not going on. And I know some of you guys that are listening can say you can debate with that and, and all those other type of things. I get it. I certainly get it.
Well, let's debate about that when we come back.
Yeah,
let's debate that when we come back.
But the statistics and the facts that are out there, you just have got to go look for them and find them. Because if you're expecting it to be dropped on you, then and the majority of you don't watch the proper news. I mean, you're stuck on Fox News, and that's just total propaganda circled over and over again. What it lies. Now, I'm not saying you should mix your news up. Okay, you can go to MSNBC, you can go to CNN, and if you want to jump on Fox every now and then, you can. All right, but point is that when you get all this information going on a break, don't settle for just one specific category. Be wise enough to look at all your options. Okay. Now, if you want to go and vote for a person that is going to jail in a few weeks, then
if he goes to jail.
No. When he goes to jail in a few weeks, now he may not be in there that long, but he's gonna see the inside of himself for a few minutes, okay? Right. And then they pull him out. But anyway, we got to go to break. This show is not going to be about him tonight, okay? We may have mentioned about the trial, but we're going to talk about encouraging you, spirituality, and what we can do to motivate everybody to get on another level. Want to say good evening, everybody. Want to say good evening to Mr. Joe Mathis. Want to say good evening to Miss Alma. Yes. We want to say good evening to you guys as well, and all those that have not let us know that you were
attending. Please put the comments.
Thank you.
Tell us how you feel.
Absolutely.
Like, and share.
Put your comments in. And as we go to break, don't forget your TTBTT at Gmail for your questions if you can't get them tonight, and also ordering your book. We'll be right back. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I think Atlanta's best kept secret, my man behind the man, is going to be joining us if he can let himself come on in. We want to hear from him tonight. Come on in the room. But as he's preparing himself to come in the room, I do want to take a moment to wish my better half. Okay, he wasn't here last week because he was under the weather. Okay, but we didn't celebrate his birthday on the air. Okay. And he just experienced his lovely birthday last week,
Yes.
And normally we do birthday presentations, and I just have not had a chance to put it all together. So what I'm going to do one celebration for everybody. So we'll post that, and then it will go up and, get everybody all at one time, in that. But I want to say happy birthday.
Happy
birthday to you. Take it down now. But yeah, every time you get a chance to go around the sun, I'm telling you, it's a great thing to be able to go around that sun. you know, and have people in your life to celebrate you, you know, when you take that trip around the sun, you know.
Sure.
Charles, there is a caption that I sent you. I don't know if you have it available yet, but I'm gonna let you read it for me real quick. It's just one of the things that I wanted to share tonight. Just kind of put us in a good flow, and then we'll move on around. Heck, where the darn thing is? Talk amongst yourself. I'll get it in just a second.
Talk amongst yourself.
Hang on one second. I'm sorry. I should have had it pulled up. Oh, here it is. So that's the first one.
Okay.
So you'll see this on the screen in a minute, guys. But I want to share this with you to kind of get you in the frame of mind where we're going tonight. Go ahead.
So conscious soul. Ego says, once everything falls into place, I'll feel peace. Spirit says, find your peace, and then everything will fall into place.
Isn't that something? Can you read that one more time?
Okay. Ego says, once everything falls into place, I feel peace. Spirit says, find your peace, and then everything will fall into place.
Right. So you guys see that on the screen tonight. That is a very powerful statement, you know, in and of itself. And if you take a minute to kind of think about that, Charles, maybe leave it up for another. You can leave it up for maybe another minute, Charles, just so that they can read it and kind of, you know, get that in their psyche, you know, because we all need to have that peace. But what is specifically saying is that we keep looking for peace in everything else. You know, we keep looking at it in friends, looking at it in family, looking at it in our surroundings and what we have and our possessions and all those other type of things. But that's not the true essence of peace, because what this is saying is that you dictate your own peace. So when you find that peace within yourself, you know, that peace will adjust everything else around you and it will fall into place, you know. But if you're going out if you're going out making the job your peace, like we were talking about, your living situation, your peace and all that, you never find that particular peace, you know. So meditate on that tonight. You know, that if you're not having that true essence of peace in your life, you know, I know some people like to say, well, you know, I pray for peace. Well, the one thing that years ago they used to say, you probably remember this, Darnell, you too, that people say you never pray for peace. Because that's the one thing that you already get automatically. But everything that challenges you comes facing you and tests the fact that you have the peace to be able to deal with it. So just in this case, you know, accept your peace. You know, and once you accept the peace that you have already developed, then all of the other things that are around you start manifesting itself. You know, and this is the time pretty much exactly.
Pretty much.
We're in a time of, and you can take your point. And the time, one thing is beautiful. You can adjust it if you want, not Charles. The one thing I have to give I guess Generation X. If I got all these generations mixed up, but whatever. As long as you live in your generation, okay. Okay, you part of some generation, all right. As long as you alive, right? You want to be X, B, C, G, you know, before, after, you know, to come, you know, you know, whatever you are, all right. The one thing you have to realize is that you are responsible for your own destiny. And the one thing that this younger generation, I'll put it this, is that I love how that they are accepting and understanding the need for manifestation in their lives. You know, and this is what they talk about so much on social media, you know, those that are, you know, that are in touch with themselves. And they say, well, I just manifested this. A lot of the what these influencers, you know, they're out there influencing people by saying, you know what, I manifested this in my life and I did this and that and that, and now you see where I am with what I'm doing. So I think that that's a great thing to have that kind of constant flow moving, because it invokes spirituality. And I'm not talking about religion or your practices. Spirituality is something completely different. I know most Christians don't like to talk about spirituality because they think you're running away from going on something else. But forget y'all know what I'm talking about anyway. But anyway, so you know, it's a thing that is a beautiful point that there are portions of humanity that are really beginning to find themselves, you know, and moving in that. And it is the younger people that are really accepting that without bearing, you know. So go ahead.
To be honest with you, I'm hearing what you're saying, but you know, it's just the thing about that is though, and I see a new generation that is coming, and they're doing things differently. But then on top of that, you see a lot of other things that are happening that is unfortunate, because you know, it's all right to manifest things and to put things into existence and to speak things into existence. But then you have those who don't like to put in the effort or put in the work. You know,
Kind of goes back to what you said earlier.
Yeah, and one thing for me is I think one thing I'm starting to realize since you have been, since you have talked, what you were saying, procrastination is now a subject matter that everybody has now been talking about too. And procrastination is one of those things that a lot of people struggle with when it comes down to putting things out there into existence because things happen, life happens, we are not some of us are not capable of just jumping in there because it takes a lot of courage. It takes courage. But it's just but we have this thing that we have to deal with when it comes down to phobias, traumas that keeps us going. But then that procrastination, sometimes it really wears on people these days.
Right.
But I think hey, to each his own. I just know that a lot of young people these days, I feel like for me, are not that focused.
Well,
they're not that focused to me. Now, you might in the comments, come at me with that, but I just feel like they're not focused enough for me. Because some of these people don't take life seriously. Well, they don't, and probably it could be me and from where I come from. Things are more. I believe things should be concrete.
Right.
It should be tangible and structured. But you have a lot of people who live on a whim, and I just couldn't do that. I'll be like
they're
that.
They're very spontaneous. That's one thing you can't say about the younger one. Now they're very, very spontaneous with their behavior.
Yeah,
and you have to let me answer that after you say your point there. Now I don't want to get deep in that right, but go ahead and say your point now.
Well, no, it's just when you see the all the generations now, I think that a lot of people have kind of they're kind of stagnant because of just certain things that's going on within them. Some of them, I think, fear take over with a lot of people when it comes down to certain things. The uncertainties of what might be if I do take this leap, what's going to happen here because I got this responsibility here. Because that's kind of the way the world is set up right now. Because everybody's kind of in a figuring it out kind of mode.
Right.
The younger ones, I think it looks that way because of they're just living carefree. Majority of them are living carefree. And if you are a person who's more seasoned and experienced in life, you kind of know that I can't live as carefree as you are because I have this responsibility. I need to handle things this. I need to make sure things are certain, like Dallin was saying. Because, I know for myself, when things aren't concrete and solid for me, it keeps me where of course, I know that things are going to work out, but it still put me a worry in the back of my mind, So I think that's it's just the difference between maturity and growth within life. I think that's just the biggest thing.
And it could be this too. And I just thought about this. When growing up, you think about this too. Think about this. I think also you can relate. Growing up, probably in the 60s, 80s, 90s, 70s, we were raised by a generation that was either part of the baby boomer generation or a part of the greatest generation that ever came through these United States of America. I'm talking about the generation that came up through the Great Depression and World War II.
Right.
You were raised around people who believed that you must have a plan. Because if you don't have a plan, there is no pathway to success.
Right.
And plus, if you don't have a job, you don't have nothing.
Right.
You've been, we were conditioned to hearing that growing up.
Right.
Now you see this new generation with no baby boomers around them.
Right.
No generation of that time period. They're not hearing that. And they're not being condemned to asking, answering questions to how are you going to get there? Right. Are you going to go to college?
Right.
What the degree you're going to get in? It's just that type of stuff we were hearing growing up. And because
in a few minutes, we ain't going to have no doctors, Alan. In a few minutes, we're not going to have no doctors. We ain't going to have no lawyers. We ain't going to have no teachers, no nurses, nothing.
Right. Well, AI gonna do all that for you. I'm just being funny, but
But if you understand where I'm coming from, if I was part of this generation, I would want to just go on a tangent too, because that wasn't pushed on them as
Right.
much as it was
Well,
pushed on us.
Well, I mean, and I totally agree with what you're saying. However, maybe if we want to put it on a little bit of a percentage, because they are those that are out there that are taking certain situations serious. I mean, if we want to look at those that have moved their way into governmental movement in terms of getting elected officials and things. So you got, my gosh, Jasmine Crockett.
I
That is
love that lady.
phenomenal young lady. Okay, so she's definitely come from good stock. And Jasmine, I think she's what, like 30, like a little younger than you or whatever. And then you got the mayor that is doing phenomenal in Baltimore. Oh my gosh, this gentleman is just off the chain. And then you got the mayor, the governor of Maryland, also a young gentleman, I mean, at the end of the day. So not just those three people are just, like I said, in the tone for everybody. But I will say this, that whereas me being the lighter part of the last part of the boom, not the
She's 43.
Yeah. Oh, she is. Okay. So that I do feel, that we that have had the touchings of civil rights and then moving into the, the love one another phase, and then coming out of that into the 70s, and then seeing the transformation of humanity from that to the 80s. I think that we that grew up through that opportunity, I think that we dropped the ball. I say that all the time. In ways that we should have been furtherly educating the ones that have, which would be typically our kids, in the category of that. One thing that we failed at, and I'm not going to get on deep because I can get deep about that, that not educating this community that my generation was the one that started everything that they're enjoying. We were the computer programmers. You know what I'm saying? We were the first. Steve Jobs was a part of that same generation, creating Apple, and then going from the iPod, and then moving into the iPhone. So and though these are just technological pieces that this generation has gravitated to keep in front of their face. But my generation is the one that created that. You know what I'm saying? But they don't understand that the generation that you're not having, to your point, not having this conversation with, that could teach you something, you don't listen to them. You feel like you know more than them because of that device you hold in front of their face. And this is the generation that created that device. You know what I'm saying? So it's an unfortunate combination that we've got going on among this area of humanity. And I honestly, I don't know how to fix it. I mean, I don't know where it is now. I do my part. You know that. I mean, every young person that's in my pathway, if that synergy kicks back and forth, I'm going to share, from their spirituality, for their choices of music, to, whatever the case may be, to give them a better insight on the way that they look at things, So to your point, yeah, they don't really pay attention as a whole. But the question is that the ones that know, what are we doing? What are you, not you in general, but what are you doing to encourage these young people? And we can't say that we can just put it on the school systems, and we can't do all of those other type of things,
But it has to start in the home.
Exactly.
It has
to
start
elaborate
in the home.
on
If
that.
it doesn't start in the home, then it's not going to spread out anywhere else.
Right.
I mean, or anything else. It's just the fact that you have to have a foundation that is in the home, that is steady.
Right.
To the point that you already have good intentions to go out and do the best that you, or have the integrity to go out and do the best that you know how to do.
Right.
Somebody even mentioned, and this is so random. This is random, but there's a new clip of Maddie Moss Clark out there right now.
Yes.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
The question in the caption was,
tell them who Maddie Moss is.
Okay, Maddie Moss Clark was she was head over the International Choir Workshops of America within the Kojic church. Plus, she was the mother of the Clark sisters. If you know of anything of the Clark sisters, look into them. Their harmonies, their songs, beautiful voices, tight, everything. They're considered one of the greatest gospel groups of their period. But she was their mother and over that organization. Well, anyways, in the caption of that clip, somebody asked, could you have been sitting in that rehearsal or in that choir while she was, conducting them, plus ruling over them? And that, because if you ever seen, if you saw the Clark Sisters movie on Lifetime and saw how really how stern she was and a no nonsense woman she was, you would thought, oh, this woman is abusive. I couldn't have dealt with this. But to think about it, I sometimes feel like you sometimes need people like that in your life. And to be honest with you, she comes close to my grandma. And I did not know she was from Alabama. I didn't even know she was born and raised in Selma, Alabama, which is 30 minutes away from where I was born and raised. But at the end of the day, this generation couldn't have dealt with what that woman was bringing them, or dealt with anybody, because that woman was bringing in work. She was like letting them know that you must bring your best. And to be honest with you, a lot of people, they don't like that. They don't like that type of, constructive type of, mentorship or correction. They don't. You can't even go into a grocery store and say, "Listen, don't run around like that. That's not nice. That, be considerate of somebody else's, space. Oh, you can't talk to me like that. Stuff like that these days. You couldn't get away with what that woman was telling them people in that rehearsal.
So let me speak from firsthand. Okay, I sang with Maddie Mouse Clark.
Though, but
okay, I sang with Maddie Mouse Clark. Okay, I know basically everything that he was referring to, but the one thing, and then we'll pick up your point when we come back from break. Okay, for your point after. One thing I can say that if you ever had an opportunity to work, and I'm speaking to those that had it was in that point, we know music. Okay. You knew your notes. You knew how to sustain notes. You knew how a choir was supposed to sound as one voice. And she made sure of that for free.
But you knew when to shut up.
And you knew when to shut up and to listen.
Which is what this new generation don't do.
Right.
Because they just don't believe in listen. They believe in what they call, talking to respond.
Right. Listen to respond.
Listening to respond. Right. Basically, it's the new thing right now. Has been a new thing right now. But it's just the fact that you couldn't just say anything to anybody of that stature.
Right, exactly.
Or you get your head popped off.
Right,
or,
well, she throw a shoe at you real quick if you get that note right.
Or a microphone.
So she
that's good teaching.
That's good teaching. All right, we're going to get your point when we come back from break. All right, we'll be right back from break. Hopefully, Atlanta Best Secret will join us. All right, we'll be right back from break.
Call 844-55-STARZ. It's Junk Stars, baby.
Hey, my name is Thurston, and here I have my CEO, son Langston. We specialize in junk removal, dumpster rental, and demolition. So if you need junk removed,
call Junk Stars.
You need dumpster rentals,
call Junk Stars.
All right, and we are back, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in to The Truth Behind the Truth tonight. Another exciting combination of spirituality and reality and a little bit of history, and all those good things. So that's what we're kind of having that conversation tonight. I do want to remind you guys about getting your mug. We don't have ours up tonight, but send I'm losing brain fart. Email to ttbttshow@gmail.com. Okay. Mm-hmm. And then you can also participate in our giveaway contest where you can send us 15 likes, 15 shares. Okay. 5. I raised the bar again. 5 likes, 5 shares to the ttbttshow@gmail.com. And we will gladly send your mug out for participating and supporting us in that aspect. And I think Charles had put up about your contributions. We will accept those too because we want to grow. Okay, you can send us some money, the kind that folds, not the one that jingles. All right, you can send that to our Cash App. All right, at the TTB Show, and then Venmo at The Truth Behind the Truth. With that as well. All right, Jonah, you have your point, and Charles, you can pick up yours after that.
No, it's just my mind was I was in just a daze there just for a second. Just kind of thinking about something I was thinking about I was actually discussing with my brother last night. I said, if you sit back and you think about this, as far as let's go culturally wise, let's go on what we know, our culture.
Okay.
We have the sports. We have the music. We now have entertainment as far as being able to reduce our own media and all of this type stuff. We have the financial institutions in whatever form there is that a person of color owns. Why ain't nothing under the sun that can stop us outside of us and the divide and conquer?
Right. Right. Absolutely. That's so
And
true.
if we, and I think that's the biggest thing that they're afraid of, because think about it, if we all actually got on one page, we would be a force. We would be unstoppable.
Yeah,
we would.
But you know,
but affirmative action and a lot of that kind of messed that up. I believe it messed it up. Don't get me wrong. I believe affirmative action needed to happen in order for us to get somewhere professionally in whatever industry that you was trying to get in without being discriminated. But my thing is, once we got in those rooms, we didn't like to bring people from, behind us. We didn't mentor people behind us because we wanted to be the only one in the room.
Right.
And that's the problem. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry, Donna.
That's exactly what I was going to. As you're saying, it's like now, if you look at this, you have all of these ball players out here who's making millions and hundreds of millions of dollars.
Right.
How long do y'all think they're gonna allow this shit to keep on happening?
Wow. It's a good point. Good point.
Think about it now. How long do you think they're gonna keep on allowing these ball players, people like LeBron James, who don't know when it's time to sit down, and keep on signing these contracts to make hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars? Guess what they're gonna turn around and say? They're gonna say, all right, now we finna turn around and we finna dissolve all of this bullshit. Take this shit being to overseas type bullshit. And then we're gonna see how y'all gonna be working penny on the dollar again.
See, to add your point, I know Charles probably gonna love this conversation. To your point, real quick, and Charles, you said, I understand about the sports end of it. Now, if a young player is
music, all of it,
is proving themselves, I don't think anybody should be signed with a $80 million contract over 2 years. To me, that's just a bit much. From the onset. Now, yes, you're good, but yet at the end of the day, we need to see that you earn that particular potential, in that. Now, using LeBron as he's been in the league for a long time, so he has worked to be able to achieve. It kind of goes back to how we started our conversation tonight. I do have a problem with these young players getting in, 21, 22 years old. They ain't ready here for that kind of money. At the end of the day. But
that's what I was saying, though. That how long do you think they're going to allow this to keep on happening? Because think about it. We are running the NFL, the NBA, all of those things, people of color. But what we're not doing is this. We're not pulling up this next little young black boy that you see out here that's good and putting the potential in him and pulling that out of him so he can get to that place or whatever the case may be. We're being gatekeepers as we always be.
Gotcha. Go ahead, Charles.
Well, of course, I don't agree.
Right.
But and this is why I don't agree. Because I feel like honestly, they can't make their money without us. So they're gonna keep letting us make that money. They're not gonna stop it.
Oh, of course.
Because you can't pull us in without having us in there. Then the other part is I have to defend, because I know quite a few NFL players and NBA players, and they do give back. They look at Cam Newton. He got jumped running the camp that he had those in Atlanta. He helped so many youth out the street, feeding them, clothing them, putting them in activities, and they jumped on them.
No. I wasn't saying that they don't watch. Of course, I know they do for the watch, but I was saying from the standpoint of the outside of the others, not as far as us. How long do they think? How long do we think that they're gonna keep on allowing us to make all this X amount of money, and then after a while,
they can't stop it? Because we're the man. I hate to say it this way, but we're the acts.
We are.
You can, so you're not gonna stop us because you need that show. They look at it. For years they didn't want blacks in the baseball. They didn't want them in baseball. They didn't want them in football. They didn't. And then what happened? We came in, we saw, we conquered. Now we're making these mega million contracts because they realize they can't make that money without us there. The problem we have is we don't understand our power, and within that power, it becomes our community. Our community doesn't understand. We rob each other and we don't even have shit. That kills me. We busting each other's houses and we working 7 days a week to get the little flat screen we got. And this knucklehead busting my house and steal my TV. And I ain't got nothing as it is. And then we out here, we teaching these young kids, these guys I work with here in this facility, they take going to jail like college. Yeah, I was down in Fulton County for like 3 months, but my boys, they was over in Decatur. You know, I was in Decatur too, because I know CO so they act like they're in college or a fraternity. That's just not funny. It's not a good thing either. But the sad part is we're unfocused on where we should be. We worried about the wrong damn thing.
So Charles, let me submit this since we're the two youngest guys in the room. So so but do you think that, as I said earlier, that your and I generation, because we have traveled through these time periods and have had that as a maybe a stepping stone or ways to look, that we dropped the ball? Do you think we dropped the ball and allowed this to happen, or do you think it was just the subcultures within these cultures that birthed, not necessarily the being, but birthed these ideological ideas to go in prison and think it's okay? You know what I'm saying? To go and rob your neighbor and then think it's okay. So do you see my point where I'm going with that?
Yeah, I think what our issue actually is that we lack boundaries and we lack structure. Even with children, they have to have structure in order to grow. Our generation got that whipping. Hell, I remember my auntie whipping my butt with an extension cord. But now, even my daughter told me when she was, I think it was 3rd grade, if you whip me, I'm calling the police. So I was like, well, you need to call them because they're gonna have a reason to be here now. And then you leaving with them when they come. Your ass ain't staying here no more. And that's the problem. We give all these so-called freedoms to people, and they're not really structured properly. The United States is the worst keeper of anything. If you look at all other countries, they invest in their countries, their airports, their streets, the structure. We don't do any of that. We let our Congress give themselves a raise every single year without fail. Yeah, and we can't even fix the damn streets, but our congressmen and our senators, they give their own raises every year, whether they worked or didn't work.
Right.
And then the average congressman, once he's been in office 2 years, he's a millionaire.
Right.
Insider trading is rampant up there in Congress.
Right.
And then we talk about what we need. And then I had a buddy tell me, I said, well, Jeff Bezos is rich beyond what he even needs. He goes, well, he gives jobs. That trickle down theory is a fucking joke.
Oh my God.
It don't. If I eat the crumbs fall to you, you get them. No, they scoop it up with a napkin so you ain't get the crumbs. And then you say, thank you, massa. Thank you for giving me. Majority of the people that work at Amazon are on food stamps.
Basically, but that's that southern mentality that these people are rich because they are giving us jobs to work. They are able to do what they want to do because they are pushing the jobs on us. But the saddest thing about it is, though, these are working class Americans that do not feel that they should have anything. Yeah, well, they feel like we should all be at the bottom of the totem pole. Most of them are voting for Trump because they think, and I hate to say this, but some of them are so ignorant to their own power. They feel like, well, you should have a certain Medicare because you work a certain job, or you should be living in that community because that's what you look like the type of person that should live in that community, and that's not right.
That's not at all.
And that's my problem. And you know what? I'm going to add this. I'm going to let somebody else speak. Is that right to work mentality? That's what it is. I don't hear it out here. But if I was to go back to Alabama or some parts of Georgia, that right to work mentality, that's what they say. That's the propaganda that they speak. Right. They feel like they should not have anything. That's why they want Trump back in office.
Well, these are systems that, like our wonderful sister in family development, Tamika said that, and so powerful when she was on the show. Programming.
Oh yeah.
Systematic programming is the thing that has been filtered into these communities, and I can't just say it's all in the African American movement, because there are, it's in all, like, systematic programming is in, has been in this, and it comes from a systematic program on a governmental level. So as long as you keep people thinking they cannot go any further than what they are, it's just like, what's the old saying? You take a cow to the gate and leave the gate open, and the cow still thinks he can't go out. Because he's been
Classism is a very
so long.
big part
The
of
gates
this.
open and say walk through, but the cow stand and say I can't go any further because
But that's the problem.
Right.
White people don't understand that there's classism. They think as long as a black man ain't getting it, it's okay. As long as they ain't getting it, it's all right. They didn't want Obamacare, well, actually the Affordable Care Act. They didn't want an Affordable Care Act because it said Obamacare, when it's actually the Affordable Care Act.
Right.
And now that they got it, and Obama said once they get it, they ain't gonna want to let it go. Now they're going, what Trump talking about taking it away for? And Trump only wants to kill it because Obama did it. And then you got all these knucklehead black folks, these niggas for Trump, and these other knuckleheads out here, this so-called running for Trump. And even like young people are ignorant to the fact. They think Trump is going to come in office and do things for them because Biden didn't do it, but they don't understand that even the stuff Biden has done takes time to get initiated into the system. It don't happen today. True, they can do anti-Semitism tomorrow if they want to, but they don't do that for the stuff we need. That stuff has to be implemented in stages. So when you look at the young folks, they go, Uncle, what do you call? I forgot what my cousin called him, Uncle TT. When Uncle TT get in office, he gonna take care. He gonna get rid of all them immigrants. And Uncle TT gonna give us a stimulus. Uncle TT didn't want to give you a stimulus the first time. Uncle TT didn't want you to have any kind of subsidies. He didn't want anything you to have. And these knuckleheads seem to think Trump ain't racist. He's got a history of racism, and I don't understand how they don't see that or even recognize it. Anybody that hangs with the Klan, white nationalists, all David Duke and all them, what you think they're about? They just shooting hoops. That ain't what they doing. They're out there, they playing it. And if I can tell people this every week, I say this constantly: read Project 2025. When you read it, you'll see that you won't have no rights once Trump get in there. You think Trump coming in there to help black folks? Well, Biden didn't do nothing. I'd rather you not do nothing than take my rights away.
Right. That's a good point.
So this is the crazy.
No, I had a question down there. No. I had a question that I need to ask you, pertaining to what Charles said earlier. Just speaking to the generation of children, okay? Because you were a young dad, okay? And so, and where the success rate that your son has had, in growing up and where he is right now, and which is very, very remarkable, and kudos to him. How did you navigate that, in this day society, to be that influential point that he made, the decisions that he made?
Well,
I just want to ask you that.
It goes into it's basically practicing what you preach. So I led by example.
Okay.
I can't tell you to do something that I'm not doing. I can't tell you to go and be something that I'm not being. So with all of that, I thank God that a person has their own mind. They're going to do what they want to do. But it was presented to him, and he took the path that was presented to him. There was waivers along the way, but ultimately he stayed on the path. When it came down to
how old is he?
Going to be 26 on the 4th of July.
Okay. He's got 3 more years till he starts flipping. You go, what the hell happened to him? What changed his mind? It's something about going 30.
So that's why I say it's just as of thus far. That's why I said as of thus far. I just take it from day to day. Tomorrow might be something different, but today you're still on the right path. It's funny.
And that's a blessing.
It was something that my boss was trying to. I said this woman, she's a multi-millionaire. When I say multi, she's a millionaire probably 30 times over, and hundreds of millions. She said to me one day, we were sitting, we was talking. She said, when the year came in, she said, Darnell, I said, what? She said, I have to tell you something. I said, what? She says, we need to put all our money in gold.
Yes.
I looked at her, I said, huh? She said, we need to get with some money. We need to put our money in gold.
Tangible wealth.
I said, well, she said, because this is the thing. I'm letting you know this. She said, I know things and I know people. She says, by 25, the middle of 25, this whole place is going to be to shit. The money is going to be obsolete. It's going to be you have no value in money. Nothing is going to be worth harm.
Right.
She was like, so if you don't have it set up now, you're going to be sitting there looking crazy.
Well, in all honesty, money doesn't mean anything anyway. It's only a barter tool.
Right.
It doesn't mean anything. And the money we print here is only paper. It's only valuable in the United States.
Right.
And the one thing that I've learned over the years is even with gold, they dictate how much it's worth. It ain't like you're going to get going and say, oh, I'm rich, because they're going to set the value for it also. There was years when we were buying all that gold, people were, and they dropped the value of it. It went way down.
But that's because so many people were buying gold. That for that point, it's always a regulatory system. But that's a whole nother conversation we get in tonight. You know, we'll pick that one up another show, teach y'all something about that and in the trading and money and what it's about and all that stuff. Because you really what you think is money is not money. Okay, it's a promissory note that has been circulating around from when it was incepted. And all you're doing is keep passing promises. Now, can you imagine when okay, you're gonna like this part. When what's his name over there? When King Charles wants to come and get his payout. Okay. I'm just letting y'all know. Okay. Because if King Charles don't live, William gonna come get his money. Okay, because William had opportunity to get his money at any given time. Because all that money, all what you call money, it goes back to Charles. Okay, the tangible means of that, it goes back to Charles. Check your facts. Anyway, well, that's another teaching another time.
It's that's just like to these people with the factor of folks talking about going out here and getting going out and getting a home, going out and buying a home. You're basically borrowing. So when they say, oh, you don't went in foreclosure and now you have turned around and went in debt on this home. You're not in debt on this home. The bank is in debt on this home.
Right.
And people don't get that.
Right.
They just put it on paper in words that it's your debt.
Right.
They're not teaching it.
And it's a way that you can turn around and go. Go ahead, Charles. What you going to say?
No, I was going to say, the problem with this whole system is ignorance. Our children won't read the news. They won't read a book. They won't have an intelligent conversation. They think they know every damn thing, and they want to tell you what to do. They don't respect experience or wisdom. They have their own little, I guess you call it, mindset, and that's the problem. And this is just me, and I don't believe in beating children, but I still believe that you should discipline them and keep them in right. You got this. Don't say that to him. He's gonna figure it out. Let him get it together. He'll decide eventually. He's 4 years old. The hell he's gonna decide? He don't even know what to decide. But he's gonna figure it out. I'll let him do it. And I'm like, come on.
Beat him.
Tap that tail.
It's hard to do teacher these days. You can't
tapping that tail as a teacher. It didn't hurt. I tell you, got me thus far.
You told my daddy to beat me.
All my life I had to fight.
All my life I had to fight for getting whipped.
But that's the craziest thing. The kids are missing that structure, that being able to listen when someone that's why now someone who do know it can't tell them anything, because therefore they was always able to say what they want to say, do what they want to do, however they want to do it. They can talk back to mama, grandma, whomever else.
Yep.
Us, baby, listen, let them. I don't care if it was the lady over that lived next door and she said something. We knew not to talk back.
Right.
That's right. You respect your elders.
Right.
Well,
Go ahead.
Well, listen, those same generation that believes in that, they're gonna hate when Trump, if he gets in, they're gonna have to talk. They're gonna have to abide by somebody.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what's crazy though?
But it's not going to be free will to do and say whatever you want to say in that society, if that society is created, because that is going to be erased out the door, out the window, because you're going to have to. Mm-hmm. You're going to have to abide by somebody now. So I hope and pray that that's what they want. Go for what you want.
Yep, he's going to be the king.
Right.
You know what I feel like? I feel like if that idiot, but I ain't going to say if the moment came that he would have been in office as of now, let's say.
Oh my God. Could you imagine?
Do you not know that this man, and I feel as if he would have been able to continuously come for 25, I feel like he would be able to undo what's done quicker than what they're trying to get done
Oh
to
yeah,
He
absolutely,
knows the
progress
system
now.
now. He
absolutely.
knows the system now. That's why he wants to
Right.
get back in there.
Right, and it's true, and that's why these fools think that you can wipe away everything with a swipe of a pen. Anyway,
Yep.
Immunity.
we got to bring it to a close. Charles, can you put up the raise your vibration real quick? I think that's a great thing, and
I
Don's
sure
going
can.
to elaborate on real quick. That'd be a great point to end on. Go ahead,
Oh my goodness.
man.
The universe does this thing
Mhm.
where it aligns you with people, things, and situations that match the energy you put out. The more you improve yourself and raise your vibrations, the more you will see things that are beneficial to your well-being.
Perfect way. Okay.
Yep.
What they're basically saying is that, it's all about you, like we started out the show talking about. You've got to begin to hone in on that energy that you put out and communicate that energy with somebody in your path. Well, you don't have to be a family member, a husband, wife, whatever, just the person you meet on the street, But can you imagine if we just start this simple practice, how much more we would find humanity coming together to answer all of the questions that you talked about tonight, and all of this becoming what it should be. We are a ball of energy, we are all that, but what we have done within the ranks of our energy is that we've given our power over to the wrong person. We've given our power over to the wrong people. And if you vote in this coming election, you will give your power in the wrong direction. Put your power on blue, so that at least you know that your power is going in the right direction. Okay. But you put your
Bet
power
on blue.
red, huh?
Bet on blue.
Bet on blue, okay? But take that to heart. Go back if you watch the show, like take a look at that caption again, because it's very powerful, And you have to. We don't want to think about the energy that we put out, that and how we communicate with one another, because spiritual people think you're going way off. Well, I'm going way off because I want to help people. Okay, I want to help people. All right. Love you guys. Thank you for tuning in so much tonight to The Truth Behind the Truth. Again, another insightful night. Again, if you didn't catch it, came in a little bit late on the show, just wait a few minutes, it'll play again, or catch us throughout the week on all of our platforms at different times. We're on Charles? Wednesday and Thursday.
Wednesday at 3 p.m. Wednesday at 3 p.m. we do a rebroadcast.
Okay.
A scheduled rebroadcast. But you can always find it on YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. Twice a week. So if you missed it, share it. Please share it. Okay. Anyway, we will have you and we will be with you again next week at the same time. Have a prosperous rest of your weekend, prosperous week next week, and look for that energy in somebody. All right. Put it out there.
And bet on blue.
Bet on blue. See you next week. Bye-bye.